Okay. Can you hear me, Laura?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, okay. Can you see me?
No, I can't see you. The screen's not showing, but your audio's on.
You can't see my ugly face then, right?
No, that's not the case, but I can't see you. Now I can see you.
Okay.
Just bring the screen down a little bit more so I can see, because I only see the top of your head. There we go. I can see you.
That better? All
Yes.
right. Oh, okay. Okay.
Perfect.
The only person that didn't pick up the paperwork for the other two was Frank Gibbs. Everybody else got their paperwork. He was supposed to pick it up today for Nicholson and
Okay.
Cheryl Busquet, I believe.
Okay. Thank you.
Everybody else has theirs, so they have had a chance to look at them anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
I believe that, you know, the fella Tom from Route 125 Development, he's the builder that works for Coleman.
Yeah, I
He
remember.
was, according to Coleman, he was going to be on tonight, but I've talked to the attorney and talked to Coleman this morning and told him while the litigation is ongoing, we can't really put him on the agenda. So
Yeah, that makes sense. I
see what
understand.
happens. We will see.
You could still be a spectator if you wanted, though. You just
Right.
can't be on the agenda.
Correct. I can't believe all the paperwork we have. It's a nightmare.
I felt bad sending it to you guys, but
We have more snow coming tomorrow, huh?
more snow?
Tomorrow, yeah. I don't know how much. Hopefully not too much.
Oh no. We've been plowing for a while now.
Right, I'm sure.
I'm still trying to get out of the 2 feet. Hi. Hi, Cheryl. Oh, hold on. You're muted, Cheryl.
Good.
Good. There
Here
we
we
go.
go.
Okay. I just want to test my computer. I want to make sure I can unmute with this button here.
Okay. You're muted.
I just want to make sure if I hit that, you can't hear me. So I
Is
don't like sneeze in the middle of something.
Using the space bar to mute? Cool.
Yeah.
I do that sometimes too.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great that we can do this, but it's nice to get on a little early so you know all the bugs.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Okay.
Tom, were you able to receive the email I just sent you? Because I think it's pretty.
Yes, go ahead.
relevant.
Oops.
Oh, did you see the email I just forwarded you from Shanti? I think it's pretty relevant to this meeting.
Tell her the computer, oh, Laura.
Yeah.
Nora's here and
Hi,
she's trying
Nora. How are you?
Our computer's freezing up. I'm good. Our computer's freezing up. And it won't print them.
Oh, well,
It
this
won't
one's
even
pretty
open 'em.
good. This one's pretty good.
Yeah. No, I meant the computer
tab-
without the,
Oh,
not my
yeah.
tablet, no, our main computer. It
Trying to-
won't bring up your, it won't
We-
open your emails. I mean,
We got some of them.
Matt's working on it.
Oh, okay, okay.
Got three of us working here.
Well, these we have, Nora. This is really regarding Doherty's.
Okay. This is from Shanti.
Okay. The only other board member I see on right now is Roger, I believe. I see
Yes,
his name.
that's
on here.
correct.
Okay.
Trisha's on. Hi, Trisha.
Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I can't complain. No one listens.
That's a good one. I'm going to use that.
Okay, you can.
How are you, Trish?
I'm good, Tom. How are you?
Not too bad.
I'm tired of the snow.
There's still a lot of winter to
I know. I guess it could be worse. We're
go, I'm
lucky.
afraid.
Yep.
Jack is on.
Yes, Mike's on too.
Oh, okay. So we're waiting on Alan and Frank.
Yes.
Is that true? I believe I don't see either of those there.
Neither do I. Unless it's the phone numbers, but I'm not too sure.
I saw Jack raise his hand. Does he want to say something? Is he?
Oh, let me try to unmute him.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, Jack. Yes.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
I was gonna try those ear things, I'm not sure, whatever. but- Hey, Tom, can I just make a suggestion before we get started?
Sure.
This Zoom thing is crazy for all of us, that when it comes time to vote, maybe someone needs to call a roll call instead of like, we've been kind of like haphazardly, don't you agree? So somebody call out everybody's name and tell them.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you had any contact with Alan?
No, I have not, no. You know something, let me give him a call. Where the heck is my phone? No, I brought him down some paperwork and so forth. Gee, we got a lot of paperwork this afternoon. I haven't even looked at it.
Yeah.
You can't get on? What?
Hey, Laura.
Yes.
So I don't know if it will help, but to piggyback on what Jack said, typically what we do on our other calls is if you want to, call people's names when Tom's ready to call a vote, and that way we've got an audible, so you can call everyone's name one at a time,
Okay.
and
Okay.
that's in your minutes, plus it's audible.
Okay.
Just a
Sounds good.
suggestion.
What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to hang up,
Yes,
Alan,
we're
'cause you only
ready.
have one phone. But call me back on my cell if you have trouble. Yeah, he was having some difficulty. I think it's more mechanical thing. That was Alan.
And I don't see Frank. Frank not on. I don't see him there.
No, I do not, no. So is Mike is on, myself,
Yep.
you, was Roger on?
Roger's on.
Trish, Roger's on.
Okay.
Well, we can get started. I have like 7:33 or so. The Newton Board of Appeals is now in session. We'll start with a roll call. Everybody who's present. Tom
Jack
McElroy,
Kozak,
Chairman.
present.
Mike Conley present.
Tricia McCarthy present.
Roger Hamel, present.
Laura McKenzie present.
So the only person we're missing is Frank
Frank
So
and
Frank is-
Alan.
and Alan. That's correct. So I guess we can appoint both Roger and Trish as voting members tonight unless either one of the other two come on, make it on. So we can start with that. Somebody want to make a motion on the minutes of our January meeting?
I think it was finally finalized, wasn't it? I believe. I'm trying to, hang on, Tom.
Yes, I believe so.
Trying to get more,
The only change that I can see,
I don't think I've seen a copy of the January minutes.
It
Has
actually
anybody
says
seen a
on the
copy of
top
the
of it, it
January
says,
minutes?
Yeah, it was emailed.
it says minutes of the meeting of December 14th. It's the wrong date on top. Everything else is for the January.
Okay, December, minutes
On the
of
very
meeting,
top of
December
the email,
14th.
it
Was
does
that-
say Board of Appeals minutes.
Pardon me?
It's for January 11th, though.
That's
It is for January 11th,
okay.
so that date needs to be changed. Everything else, I think, is in order unless somebody has any comments other than that.
Okay.
I think I'm all set with the minutes.
We need to make a motion to accept the minutes.
Make a motion, we accept January 2021 minutes.
I second the motion.
A second, we need a second on that. That was Mike, I believe.
Yep, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, it's Mike.
All
I'm
those in
seconding the
favor?
motion.
Okay,
Aye.
all those in favor of said motion? Aye.
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 Okay, motion,
Aye.
minutes accepted as read. The first thing on the agenda is the preliminary review for 20 Wilders Grove. Is there anybody on there from 20 Wilders Grove?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, this is Jack Kozak. I just happened to get in my email. Did anybody else? I'm not sure where this came from, but from the building inspector. And then I got another one from a Kathy Ross, which is kind of late, but I doubt very much if everybody's had a chance to read it. But it's kind of disturbing on 20 Wilders Grove. I'm not sure if you guys want me to read it because it's there's several paragraphs and everybody should really have a chance to go through it. I'm not sure what to do on this because it's, and of course, and one of the abutters, her name is Kathy Ross. I quickly, just download them so I could print them so I could read them. And, but there's all kinds of pictures and so forth, but I can't print anyway. So it's one of those documents that I'm sure I might be the only one that's even seen it because they just came in my email within the last 20 minutes. I just happened to be looking for something and I found them. So, yeah, there's some concern from the building inspector and,
Right, I just received them also.
pardon me?
I just did receive them at the same time, Jack.
You did, yeah. I don't know if it's anybody else seen them. There's one from the building inspector and one from Kathy Ross.
Yeah, I
This is
received
Mike
them.
Conley. I just got these as well.
Yeah, I think we all got them. I think I quickly opened them to look what it was, but didn't have really a lot of time to digest them all.
I'm sorry, Raj, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I received it, but didn't have a chance to really digest what
Yeah.
it said.
Okay, yeah. Well, there's some concern. In fact, the building inspector had talked to me last week sometime because there was that email that we got there a few weeks ago. I'm not sure. Laura could probably come up with a date that there was a possible court case coming up on that property. And so I asked him where that stood. And he said that, hang on for a second, I got so many notes here. What was my notes on that thing? That the other variance he's definitely got to look for. That's Alan French. Hang on, please. Yes, Alan, if you get on. Hello? What's going on, Alan? What do you, on what screen, your phone? Why do you need a dial pad? I don't understand it, Alan. Just hit the,
Mr. Chairman, this is Tricia.
oh, you
Yes,
can't-
Trish.
you can't tell that
Going
number?
through you, I'm going to ask Laura if, I haven't been receiving anything, minutes or anything. So Laura, if you noticed anything or like the letters that Jack is referring to, or the minutes even of the last few meetings, I know I've been like missing in action, but I was teaching on those nights. If you could forward them to me, that would be awesome.
Yes, I'm sorry. I just didn't know if you were still
That's
active.
okay.
So I can forward you what they're talking about right now.
Perfect. Thank you, hon. Okay.
It looks to me like, this is Tom, Jim, and it looks to me like on 20 Riley's Grove, we've got a lot of paperwork to digest, and I can't imagine that we can really do justice to it this evening. We can continue
Excuse
this
me,
till
this
next
is
month,
Wendy
and I don't see
Doherty.
how else we could. Yes,
Excuse me, this is Wendy Doherty
ahead.
of 20 Wilders Grove. And this is the second meeting that we've been through, and we have not received any communication. We've been following all protocols and getting all of our paperwork in the time. We submitted the new drawings like 3 days after the last meeting, and we've been following up with Laura and never received any confirmation if she even received our drawings. At first, she said she didn't receive them. So we've been like lost in the limelight for quite some time now, and we're just trying to get this followed up with. And if you're getting communications from Kathy Ross,
and the building inspector, would like
Yeah.
to kind of see those as well, I think. Should we
Yeah,
be
I
able to-
understand, but I didn't get this paperwork. That's why you haven't heard anything after that from me. I looked everywhere. I did not receive it. I even went back.
but
and-
I would have dropped it off again, ma'am.
Yeah, if we
I
knew you couldn't
understand, and
find
I
it, we
did
would
say
have brought it
that.
again.
I did say
That
that I
is-
did not receive it.
Right, and he gave us a specific date and asked if you could confirm if you found it, and then we heard nothing since last week.
I did reply. The unfortunate thing is that the agenda was already printed, so even if you had provided it afterwards, I couldn't go back and just add on to it because newspaper had already been sent out, so I didn't want you guys to fall in between that.
So when is there going to be a time that we can drop specific stuff off and know that it's getting into your hands? Because I handed
You
this
need
is stuff
to,
that we
you
had
need to let
driven
them
up.
know.
Excuse me. This is stuff that we had written up from our engineer, and we wanted to submit it to you, and we had double copies made to do that. And I handed them to the people at the clerk's office because they said that there was nobody in the buildings inspector's office.
Exactly, so you need to let them know that it needs to go into the Board of Appeals mailbox. That's just it.
Which I did, and it had your name specifically on the envelope.
Unfortunately, if it's not in my mailbox, it could be in anybody else's mailbox, even if it says my name, I will not get it on time. Because the board, the town hall is actually closed, and I'm not in and out of there every day. I just go in right before the deadlines for me to pick up the paperwork, and I pick up whatever's in my mailbox. I don't usually even get to see anybody in there. All right.
Figure that-
This is Tom, the chairman. I can go to the town hall tomorrow to see if we can retrieve everything that we need there.
The only thing that we needed to resubmit was the
When they are open.
documentation with the
That's the
new.
best we can do right now, but we don't have. Did it go to the town clerk, do you know?
You know which clerk it was?
I do not, I'm sorry.
All it was an updated drawing and a letter from our other abutter.
Is this a certified plot plan that you submitted?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, you had a copy of
Okay.
it in the first meeting, but one of you requested that it be in feet and inches instead of hundredths. So we had it redone. It was to scale. You do have a copy of it from the first meeting.
I do, the first one, right, which is not the right scale, but apparently the proper document is at the town hall.
It's the right scale. It was, somebody wanted it in feet and inches.
Ma'am, do you recall who you gave it to?
it was one of the two clerks. I can't remember, I'm sorry. I knocked on the door. I rang the doorbell. They came out and I said, I need to drop this off to the Board of Appeals. It needs to be in before tomorrow. And they said, okay, we'll put it in her office. I said, it needs to go to Laura McKenzie. And they said, okay, we'll put it in her mailbox.
Okay, I think somebody might have put it in the wrong mailbox by accident. So I can definitely check with other members to see where it is, but I did email a couple of people and they've been on the lookout for me and they did not find it. So we apologize, but if I had received it, I would have found a way to make sure you were on there.
Okay, so to make
always
this not
wel-
happen the next time,
You're always
how,
welcome.
I want,
Yes. For it to
is
not
there
happen the
any way
next
that we
time,
can have confirmation as soon as we email you and say, we dropped it off to the clerk's office today? Is there any way that you can give us confirmation immediately saying yes, or yay or nay that we received it? Because if you don't receive it and it doesn't give us time, then we're going to be doing the same thing for two more
I
times after
understand.
this.
So what I'm trying to say, I did reply to that one email that I received, and I said, no, I did not receive it. So for future reference, what you can do, which a ton of candidates have been doing, is that they scan it in and they also send a copy via email, just in case I can't find it.
I don't know how to send a plan through email.
I know, I'm not sure how we can scan in through that plan through email.
If you email me, I can definitely walk you through the scanner app. There's an app.
This is
Who
Tom.
doesn't have the plan?
This is Tom, the chairman. I will go to the town hall tomorrow to inquire. And if I find it, I will definitely call you and let you know, and we can schedule a preliminary for next month. That's the best we can do at this point.
And then
All
can
right,
you
well, thank you.
and can you explain to us what the
Issue is with the building
Yes,
inspector
thank you.
and or the other abutter.
What was the problem with the abutter?
I can't explain because I don't know that information. We just, like I say, the best I can do, I will go to the town hall tomorrow to try to find what you did submit to them. And I'll call you tomorrow as soon as I come back. And that's the best we can do at this point, because we've got a lot of paperwork to go through before we can make any kind of a decision on, what's going on.
Tom? Can anybody hear me? Am I
Yes.
Yeah,
muted?
go ahead, Jack.
Is that Jack?
Go ahead,
Listen,
Jack.
let me read one of the emails I got from the building inspector today. I'm confused as heck on this piece of property. Regarding documents that have been provided to me, the board from Charles Doherty, the applicant for the preliminary hearing, please consider the attached documents, which I couldn't print them anyway, from New Hampshire DES. You notice that the proposed, technically only one already constructed deck design was denied by DES, and it exceeded the footprint, print square footage on the original patio and stairs. This is item 2 from 2020-09. Request for more information attached. Please provide the square footage, blah, 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 it keeps on going, that the proposed deck can only equal the same square feet of what is being replaced. So I'm not sure if that's an issue yet or not. That's why the building inspectors get involved. The second document attached specifies that only the revised plan dated September 25th, 2020 has been approved. Okay. Anyway, and he's saying down here, I have not received, this is from the building inspector, I have not received a copy of the revised plan. I encourage the board to only consider the revised plan dated 9/25/2020, as any other plans have clearly been denied by New Hampshire DES. More than likely, this will require the applicant to modify the structure that has been previously been built without the benefit of a building permit. Now, and during the week here, when I talked to him, he also mentioned X1, which is, let me get my zoning book here, because it's a non-conforming lot. And this was his big expansion of a non-conforming structure. There's A through E, but he expressed big concern about B. The expansion must have no further advanced impact on the view, light, and air of any abutter. He's very concerned about that. And there's no request for that for the Board of Appeals to give him an approval on that. So these are areas that I'm concerned about, just because I got so much paperwork. I don't know what everybody else has.
I know, that's what I'm looking through, all this paperwork. It's crazy.
Well, Alan, some of the stuff I just got tonight, I mean, from the building inspector, when I went my mail and Miss Ross, I guess that's her name, but,
Oh, so that's not the stuff
That
you
stuff-
gave me the other
that stuff
day.
should have been here 2 weeks ago or more, And,
Ah.
so,
No, this was like sent yesterday. So I was away. I just got back today and I forwarded it right away to you guys.
but no, I don't think anybody's had
Okay,
a chance to read it.
Right. I will go to the town hall tomorrow to try to retrieve more information. Call Mr. Doherty and let him know one way or the other.
Well, the thing is, if it's non-conforming, it's like I said when we were at the meeting at the town hall there the last time, that if it's a non-conforming use, it says right in the specs for the town that you cannot change or protrude into any other existing area, and you have to have the the DES approval first of all. So without the DES approval, we've already had a couple of these recently, is you can't do anything without that approval.
But I think, Alan, I think more than that, I think X1, that's something he'd have to prove to, that he's not in violation of. What did I read to you? X1, Section B, the expansion does not have no further adverse impact on the view, light, and air of any abutter. He's gonna have to prove that. But he hasn't asked for it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but the deck won't be any higher.
Pardon me?
The deck won't be any higher than the other one.
I have no
It was
idea.
not.
I don't know.
It was not, and it was approved by DES. They were at my property, they measured it, they took pictures, I went through the process, and I enclosed copies of that approval. It was
But then-
approved after the fact.
Excuse me, sir.
obviously.
The X
Yeah.
one that I'm looking at, that's a town zoning ordinance, not the state.
All right, well, the state ones were included in my original package that I submitted to you guys back in November.
Yeah.
And I can submit others if I have to, more copies.
No, I think that information is all available to us. You're talking about a shoreline protection permit, right?
Yeah, well, there was two different things. There was the heritage something or other. There was two
Yeah.
parts to that.
Well, this gets into a non-conforming lot for the town of Newton zoning ordinances. which
We
you haven't-
never
you
had
haven't-
all
you
these
haven't addressed
problems.
yet. Yeah. It's not on the application for an administrative decision.
I'm not sure I follow that.
Well,
I thought I
let me
was
read
done
it to
with
you
the
again,
state.
sir.
I thought I was done with the
This,
state.
this
and now we're
came
going
from the
through
building
town of Newton.
inspector, okay?
Yeah.
Is your expansion of a non-conforming structure. You want to look it up in the town zoning bylaws, it's under X.1. The one he was concerned about is B, and there's several categories that have to be followed under. It's A through G, but the one he was really concerned about, now I'm not sure because he talked to abutters, I'm not sure we got all this information, but the expansion must have no further adverse impact on the view, light, and air of any abutter. This is something, if you apply for it, you're gonna have to prove that it's not.
Okay, well,
And I'm not sure how you go about that. My advice is probably talk to the building inspector. Because he
Yeah.
was concerned
all
about
right,
it.
yeah. Yeah, no problem. I can do that.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, as far as I can tell, that this is the same height as the other steps that were there, the other patio. It's only 30 inches off the ground. It's not blocking anything. But, yeah, I guess I'll have to deal with him on that, right?
I don't know what the Owen looked like. We don't have a picture of that or anything on any form, so I'm not sure.
Well, that's what he's
Okay,
looking
we'll
for,
have to
so it's
review
not
that.
taller.
Pardon me, Alan?
They're just looking for it not to be taller to block any view. It's just a deck. It's just the same height.
And I understand that. You can't be blocking anybody's view. I understand that. And as far as I know, we didn't. So going forward, I have to deal with the building inspector before I deal with you guys.
Yeah, because,
Yeah, he has to approve it first.
But he told us we had to go in
Yeah,
front of
he told me that he was going to reject it and we had to get a variance. And then he would, you know, have his say on the structure itself. So that's why we're here.
well,
That's
it's
the
not,
way I thought
sir,
we-
sir, it wasn't a variance you were requesting, it was for the shoreline protection for the town zoning ordinance, which is, I don't have it's under title, what the heck, it's under XX1-X, Shoreline Protection District Overlay.
Yeah,
That's
and
what,
as far as
that's
I
what
know,
we were under
we
the
applied
impression
for
you were
all that.
looking for.
And we were approved. And then once I submitted those approvals to the building inspector, he said, well, now I'm going to reject your deck because of the town of Newton zoning step back 150 feet or something. I don't know the exact wording of it. You guys probably have that. So you have to apply for a variance. I was approved from the state, as far as I know. So now I'm trying to get approved by the town.
No, sir, you're wrong on that, sir, okay? Excuse me for interrupting. This is Jack again. I'm going to read you the reason that he denied it.
Okay.
This permit application is denied due to the shoreline setback requirements of 150 feet, section XX1 of the Newton zoning ordinance. So it comes into play XX1-X. So that would be an administrative decision. That's what he was talking about. It's not a variance, it's an administrative decision, which we have those,
So-
you know.
All right. If you would, what does that mean in English? 150-foot step back from the shoreline. You can't build anything within 150 feet of the water?
Yes.
Yeah, the shoreline.
Well, my whole
Yes, sir.
house is within, everything that I own is within
Well,
150
yes,
feet
well,
of
I know
water,
that.
and
So
so is everybody
almost
else.
every place down there is. But now that you've
Yeah.
got a new construction, you know, you did it without a building permit, and so you went over
Yep.
and built it. So now, prior to that, because it was probably grandfathered in before zoning laws, now you've activated this the shoreline section, XX1X, and that's why you've got to go and ask for that. But as far as the other thing, they're blocking the view and so forth. I would definitely talk to the building inspector, because that's the impression I got. Whether it was a butters that complained to him, where they lost a view or something, I have no idea. He didn't give me that information, but he stressed it to me that I didn't, and I looked it up what it was. But he says B is the big one, you know, which I just.
All right, so
Did the
between-
abutter express it to you, Mr. Doherty?
excuse me?
Did the abutter express that he was against it?
The abutter, I haven't talked to those abutters directly. Those abutters are, they'll if I put out a beach umbrella, they'll raise the white flag and complain about, they fight with everybody around them. So, I tried to build it tastefully and low, so I wasn't blocking anything. They haven't said anything directly to me.
And we share a beach with our other abutter, and he is completely happy with it and says, how can anybody say that this is blocking any view?
If anything, it would be in his, he could say, you've blocked my view a little bit, and he loves it. He sits on it all the time. But the other guys, it's not blocking anything but their well pump house. It's only 30 inches off the ground. So no, I have not talked to them directly.
Well, I have a page, a page and a half from, you must be talking about Kathy Ross. She lives at 18
Yeah.
Wilders Grove.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to read it because not all the other members have even seen the copy yet, but this was a part of my email tonight that when I opened it up, that, you know, it's just dated February 8th. So if Miss Ross is here and would like to read it, is Miss Ross online? She probably didn't even get into the Zoom, hoping that this would stand up for her, that someone would read it. But I think it's inappropriate to read this tonight, but it could have some bearing on how we finally vote for this thing in the future. Some abutters would have a hard time getting in and, you know, verbally communicating, but it doesn't sound.
Well, it's hard to get in. It took me almost 20 minutes to get in.
Yeah. I quickly looked at the pictures because I can't print them or anything, that she did all these attachments. But I would say by just taking a look at this, she's not happy with it, okay? Which is fine.
Okay, this is Tom again. I think we need to move on. We have two
Yeah, I'd like
hearings
to make
coming
a
up,
motion
so-
that we continue 20 Wilders Grove till geez, what's this, February, let me get my calendar here.
Would be in March, the second Monday of March.
For a preliminary meeting, February 8th.
March 8th.
And I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's
talk,
right,
I'm gonna
February
reach out to the building inspector in the meantime.
Okay,
March 8th, right?
yes, correct. Second Monday.
But
Jack,
also, somebody, don't forget. to
today's
look at that
February
paperwork.
8th, Jack.
I meant, I'm sorry, February. I meant March 8th. I'm sorry, people. Can I revise that? Thanks, Alan.
That's all right, as long as you can hear me.
Okay, well, let's open the hearing for Hazelton Builders, 13 Quaker
Was there a
Grove.
vote on that?
What's that,
On
Roger?
Jack, was there a vote on Jack's motion?
We can, did anyone second his motion?
I second Jack's motion to continue it.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye, Tom?
Aye.
Aye.
Actually, I won't be a voting member now that Frenchie's here.
Roger, I can back
You
out.
get-
You can
No,
continue.
you stay. I'll,
Okay,
Okay.
okay. We'll open the hearing for 13 Quaker Street, Hazelton Builders LLC.
13 Quaker. Do we have all the paperwork finally? I think so.
I believe,
Yeah,
I believe we do.
yeah.
You have any comments to make, Mr. Hazelton?
Only if you have any questions. I think we've kind of talked this every time that we get on. We talk about it in great detail. I think for the most part, it was just making sure that we had all the paperwork and the wording correct for you guys to make sure that we had the overhangs on properly, which on the now 1:20 scale, the correct scale plan on the smaller page. We have those on there. We've had the new variance request in feet and inches, showing what we're requesting instead of our distance to the property line. Well, that shows both now. But I'm pretty sure that we've got everything you need at this point. So if you have any questions.
Are there any abutters on the property online?
I am Tom Keely. I'm one
I'm
of the
sorry, I couldn't
abutters.
hear Donna.
Aye.
I'm sorry, my name's Tom Keely. I'm one of the abutters.
And where is your property located, sir?
Right next to Dave Nicholson's. 17 Quaker Street, I'm sorry.
Where is 17 Quaker? Is that, and how does it affect your property, sir?
It really doesn't. According to Dave, who had the survey done, says that this barn is nowhere near 25 feet from my line. It's another building, or it's another abutter. It's not me.
Okay. Are you the only butter that's on, sir? Of 13 Quaker Street?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Are you the one that the shed is 150 feet out in the middle of the lot?
This is the 24 by 24 garage, Alan.
Yeah. Hi, this is Dave Nicholson. We spoke to Tom Keely. I showed him what the plans were.
You spoke to who, sir?
Tom Keely. He was just online talking to you.
Okay.
Um,
Did,
And
did,
also-
did you were supposed to get together with another abutter. Did he look at it?
we went and talked to,
He was the one that mostly affected, I believe.
yeah, we went and talked to Tammy Gluck. Her husband wasn't home at the time, but we gave Tammy a copy of the plans. I gave her my phone number. I told her, I showed her what we were doing. I told her husband, he can go up and he can walk the property. It was marked, it was staked out. He can see where we want to go. Her biggest concern was whether or not we were taking down trees. There's no trees that are going to be affected. And I just told them, if you have any concerns, please give me a call and talk to me. And I haven't heard anything from them at all.
But the gentleman that said you were supposed to meet him to show him the plans.
That was Tom. That was Tom Keely, and he's online with us tonight.
Tom, is he the one that just made the comments?
Yes, he is.
And but the one that I remember you talking to said that the piece of property affected him, and this gentleman just said it didn't.
He thought it was.
He thought it affected him. He hadn't seen the plan or anything.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Since I visited him the day after the meeting, I
Yeah.
went. And I had a quick
That's
little
what,
meeting with him. Yeah.
So any of the butters are over. If I'm looking at the drawing right now, and it's looking like it's that the garage is on I guess you'd call it, the way I'm looking at, on the left-hand side, that nobody's bothered by that piece of property over to the left. It's a big variance there, and that's why I'm concerned. There's no name on the piece of property.
Yeah, the one that you're seeing that's 150 feet away, that's Gluck. That's Tammy Gluck.
If I could
Okay,
just
that's
make,
all right, yeah.
if I could just say something real quick
Actually, if
too.
it's 150 feet away, then it has no bearing on where it's going.
No,
Well,
that's the building. That's their house is 150 feet away.
Right, so their house is 150 feet from the
Right,
closest
from the property,
corner of
yeah.
the proposed garage to it. And
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
So it's
corner,
not 25 feet.
right, well, so in that corner, we're requesting a 3-foot 8-inch variance because we're 3 foot 8 inches over the 25-foot setback to the property line in her corner.
But it's not 3 foot from their building.
No,
No,
no, we're
no.
3 foot 8 inches over the setback requirement.
Yeah. And how about the existing dwelling? It says on C note number 3, it's 13-1-3. Is that the gentleman that just spoke? Because there's no name associated with it.
You want Mr. Keeley back.
I'm back.
Is that
There are
his
three-
property? If you take a look at the map there, and that looks like the one that's affected the most. Who's on property 13-1-3? Is that Mr. Healy?
13-1.
It's
I
directly
don't
to
have
the
the map in
left.
front of me.
It says it's got 270 feet there.
Oh, yeah, 13-1-3. Yes. We went and knocked on that door. That door is owned, that building, we tried to track them down. It's owned by a, what was that called? It was a,
Enterprise.
It was-
A trust.
it was some sort of a trust. is
Oh,
what-
okay, an equitable trust, okay.
Yeah, so we.
Yeah, which
we
is
went-
my house is the same thing, yeah.
So we went and we knocked on the door, and the person that answered the door, I explained to him what we were doing. I says, I don't want to scare anybody. I don't know you. But I did the same with him. I gave him a copy of the plans with my phone number, and I told him, I said, just give me a call if you have any concern, and he didn't seem concerned at all.
Did you tell him you're asking for a variance that's basically going to be half the distance on the 25-foot setback?
Yeah, but from his house, you can't even see.
And that's not my question, sir. It's still his property. Did you tell him that you're going to be almost 13 feet closer on his property line? You're looking for 12 feet, 11 inches. I think 12 feet 11 inches, no matter where it is quite large.
The person that I was talking to really honestly didn't even want to talk to me.
Huh.
I didn't get a good welcome at the house.
Yeah.
A stranger coming up and knocking on the door. I'm sorry, but
I know you, right? We'd rather you be safe.
so that's just the way. That's the impression that I got from him.
Yeah.
I could be mistaken, but he has my info. He has a copy of the plans with the dimensions on it. I mean, he could
Well,
contact.
he could look at the dimensions, all he has here, but if I was looking at the plans without having the detail of what the variance is, I would have no idea what this is all about.
The details, the dimensions, which is.
You know what I'm saying? You mean,
Well, what do you mean by the details?
well, I'm looking at the
Is that
plan, right?
gentleman
The
living there?
details, you have this little paragraph that we are seeking a variance, blah, 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 okay? If I'm trying to relate that to the plans and not familiar with plans, and I'm no expert on it, believe me, and I'm trying to say, well, what the heck is that? Where is that 12 feet 11 inches? I'd have a hard time finding it, okay? And I could find it, but most people wouldn't.
Oh,
It's on the large plan. Do you have
So
the,
he had no problem with it then.
He had really no issues with it, no.
And that whole, I know that you said it doesn't really matter, but that whole 270 feet is extremely thickly wooded.
Thickly wooded, up over a hill. I can't even see the house from mine. This here, that distance there. And then the other house, the house next to that that's directly affected. I went to the house a couple of times. I believe it's a new owner that's in the house. And both times that I went, there was packages sitting on the front porch, FedEx or UPS or whatever. And I'm not about to walk up to somebody's door with their packages sitting outside when they're not home. I just don't. I see too much of that on the news. If I had a contact name for him, a phone number, I would have been happy to call him. But it just didn't. I was uncomfortable, going up and knocking on the door.
They must have got the letters and they're not here. concerned.
Well, yeah, and they have the letters and they're not at the meeting, so I don't know if they're really concerned that much.
And this is after the
well,
meeting.
this is Tom, the chairman. We're really looking at two variances, right?
No,
Yes.
For each corner of the garage?
Yeah, the biggest one is the 12 feet, 11 inches.
Now that 12 feet, 11 inches from the property line, though, you still have another 250 feet to where the house is, right?
yes,
245, yes,
And you can't even see it.
correct.
Correct.
They probably don't even know where the property line is.
I kind of doubt it, yeah.
I mean,
There's a
I don't know if that person lives there, or if they're just renting there, or if they're staying there, or, you know what I mean?
There's some pretty hefty fencing around those two homes as well.
Yeah, I believe the one is where you see the 13-1-3. I got the impression they were a renter. And then the 13-1-4, I believe I think that's a new owner that's in there.
Well, we can't wait for 50 years for people to answer the letter, Why should you be, deterred from your variance request just because they don't want to answer?
Correct.
This is Jackie King. I just make a comment, and this is my personal view, and how the board is. I look at 12 feet 11 inches as a pretty large variance. In my history on the board, we don't give out too many of those variances unless, and this is why I say unless with a question mark, the abutter might come forward and say, look, I have no problem. Yeah, but it's a lot of feet. And I'm very concerned about that. That's my number one. I feel better if there was an abutter on the phone, and especially in the area was really totally affected, and say he has no problem with it. It's documented and so forth, and we can move forward. But that's just my opinion.
Well, the one that's closer and is actually affected is on. So the one that's directly behind at the 181.
Yeah, I understand that, sir, but we deal with feet and inches on variances. Anything when it starts getting over 10 feet to me is like really encroaching, and it's really doing a number on the zoning ordinance that's asked for 25 feet. And I'm sure if you were in the other boat, you might feel the same way, that if it would be affecting your property, whatever it is. So I just have I want to uphold that zoning ordinance. I think it's important. The town voted for it years ago, and it needs to be upheld. So it's I'm not saying that how I'm voting or whatever, but I'd much rather see the abutter say, I don't have a problem with it. But anyway, I hate to see things come back later on.
And this is Tom, the chairman. What are the actual two dimensions that we're looking for on the variance? What, in feet and inches, what is from each corner of the garage, what's the
So the front corner,
exact dimension?
the front,
Mr. Hazelton, do you know what that is?
yes. So the front corner is 3 foot 8 inches over the setback, and that's to the outside of the overhang. And in the rear corner, it's 12 foot 11, and that's also to the overhang.
I mean, it's just shy of 13 feet, by an inch. It's huge. But anyway.
There's no other way to adjust the garage?
I just don't know. I look at the piece of property on there, and you look at the setbacks that are required, and half of that house could not be built today. I mean, part of it's in wetlands.
The only way that we'd be able to reconfigure the garage to set it back further and get slightly less over, we would end up needing to move the doors on one side, and how far back we'd have to move it in that back corner, we'd be basically on top of the leach field.
And the septic.
Do you see that on the plan, Jack?
Yeah, I see it on the plan. Could it be moved towards the deck? I don't know.
I have a question. My comment.
Not every piece of property can have a garage on it either.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so, sorry, the gentleman that was talking about moving the garage, is that Nick?
Yes.
Okay, so how many, so if I look at, so I'm looking at the plan now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking, I'm looking at this and saying how far, I see the approximate leach field. How many feet from that approximate leach field to the right-hand bottom corner of that garage? Do you know that roughly? I'm not going to hold you to it, but give me.
So we don't know exactly where that leach field is. This was the surveyor's best guess as to where it is. When you're on site, when you're on the property and you're looking at it, it looks like it's pretty close to where we're proposing the back corner to be, probably 15 feet or so.
Yeah, I got about 15 and a half feet. Yeah, to the corner.
Yeah, I was doing the rough estimate too. I just didn't know, so you guys have done a lot of work, and I don't want to pound on here, but look, is there a way to take that proposed garage and even take it 5 feet closer to that, I'm not saying going all, 10 feet, but is there a way to get it a few feet over? So that,
the-
that 12 foot, 11 inches is just shy of, the 10-foot mark.
I gotcha. We had talked about potentially doing that. The one thing that we were trying to do was to keep the door on the front side, so on the house side of the garage, so that we didn't have
Mhm.
doors on the side. Because if he puts the doors on the side, there is some woods there, some trees that he'd probably have to either trim back or take out to be able to actually swing that corner into the garage. And we didn't want to do that where that one abutter had mentioned not wanting any trees taken out, and then they were okay with it.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
trying to appease all sides here.
No, I hear you. Yeah, I forgot that comment. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Any other comments from the board? We want to go through the criteria now.
Sure thing. Yeah.
Number one, the variance is not contrary to the public interest such that it would alter the essential character of the neighborhood or threaten the public health, safety, or welfare. Their answer to number one is the garage will be built to fit into current aesthetic of the neighborhood. It would not alter the character of the neighborhood. Everybody agree or disagree?
Well,
Yeah, I agree.
I agree, Tom, the chairman.
Yeah, Alan French, Vice Chairman. I agree.
Jack Kozak, I agree.
I think I'm gonna have to
I
abstain.
think
because
they've
I
tried
have
to,
nothing to look at.
Okay, Trish is
I think they've
abstaining
tried
from
to
this.
accommodate everybody.
Mike, did you have a comment on this? So I assume we have 3 so far that agree. What about Mike and who else is on there?
Roger?
Yeah, Mike agrees.
Roger.
I didn't know if I could hear what Trish was saying. I know she was trying to say something.
Trish, what were you saying, Trish?
She's going to abstain.
I'm abstaining only because I can't see any plans. I don't know what, I've got an idea what you're talking about. I know the area, but I really haven't seen anything.
Okay, fair. I just didn't understand what you're saying. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Do we have everybody's vote now?
Yes.
Either. Okay. Number 2, the spirit of the ordinance is observed. The proposed use must not conflict with the explicit or implicit purpose of the ordinance and must not alter the essential character of the neighborhood, threaten public health, safety, or welfare, or otherwise injure public rights. The garage will be built to fit into the current aesthetic of home/neighborhood.
Well,
I agree with
I
that, Tom.
disagree. This is Jack. I disagree with that. I don't think that, I don't know what the rest of the neighborhood looks like, so I'm not sure what the garages look like, but, and it's not in the spirit of the ordinance.
Alan?
Yeah, Al French, Vice Chairman. I'm going to abstain from that.
Mike?
Yep. I'm going to agree.
Is that everybody? Okay. Motion carries on that one. Number 3, substantial justice is done. The benefit to the applicant should not be outweighed by the harm to the general public or other individuals. Their comment is there would be no harm to the general public or other individuals.
This is Jack Kozak. I will agree. There'll be no harm
this is-
to the individuals or public in that particular plan. I say yes.
Okay, if Jack says yes, I'm going to agree with him then.
Mike?
Mike Conley, I agree.
Yeah, Tom, I agree. Okay, number 4, the values of surrounding properties are not diminished. Expert testimony on this question is not conclusive, but cannot be ignored. The board may also consider other evidence of the effect on property values, including personal knowledge of the members themselves. Their answer to this, number 4, is improving. I'm going to read what this says. Improving, adding value to this property will positively affect surrounding property values. I would agree, Tom, Chairman.
Jack Kozak, I agree.
Alan French, Vice Chairman, I agree.
Mike Conley, I agree.
Okay, number 5. Little enforcement of the ordinance will result in unnecessary hardship, meaning the applicant must establish that the property is burdened by the zoning restriction in a manner that is distinct from other similarly situated property. Because of special conditions of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area, there is no fair and substantial relationship between the general public purposes of the ordinance provision and the specific application of that provision to the property. The applicant must establish that because of conditions of the property, the restriction as applied to the property does not serve purpose in a fair and substantial way. B, the proposed use is a reasonable one. The applicant must establish that the special conditions of the property cause the proposed use to be reasonable. The use must not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. Alternatively, unnecessary hardship means that owing to special conditions of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area, the property cannot be reasonably used in strict performance with the ordinance. As an alternative to A and B above, the applicant can satisfy the unnecessary hardship requirement by establishing that because of the special conditions of the property, there is no reasonable use that can be made of the property that would be permitted under the ordinance. If there is a reasonable use, excluding an existing use, that is permitted under the ordinance, the alternative is not available. Their answer to this number 5 criteria is the way that the existing structure is situated prevents us from building the garage in another spot on the property. I would agree in that situation.
This is Jack Kozak. I disagree. I think they could have found an alternate, maybe a one-car garage or whatever. And I don't want to say it was a hardship because the property is what it is. And so I disagree with it.
Alan?
I think they just ought to do some more measurements and be careful. Like they said, they were trying to move it within so many feet of the septic that, you know, they might be able to fit it in there, you know?
So do you agree or disagree?
I disagree on that one. The
Tricia,
gentleman
you gonna
said that
abstain?
they were trying to make it.
Mike?
Mike Conley, I agree.
Are you going to abstain, Trish? What's your status?
Yes, I'm abstaining.
Okay, we have a tie in this situation then, right? We do.
Is Roger there to vote?
Roger, we need you to vote.
Sure, you want me to replace Trish?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, I agree that, it would be a hardship to not allow this.
Any further discussion? If not, does somebody like to make a motion?
What did he vote? Yes?
Yes,
Roger voted yes? Okay.
yes.
Is anybody making a motion, or you want me to make it? Okay. I make a motion that we approve the variance for 13 Quaker Street, Newton, a tax map 12, Block 3, Lot 1, 13 Quaker Street, Newton, New Hampshire, according to drawing 2799-W-drawing, job number 20-2799 by SEC Associates Incorporated.
You have a second on that motion?
I second it. Alan French, Vice Chairman.
All those in favor? Aye, Tom?
Mike Conley, aye.
Jack Kozak, aye.
Roger Hamel,
Alan
aye.
French, aye.
Okay, the variance then is granted.
Thank you very much.
There is a 30-day, there is a 30-day period at which somebody could come forward and say, we made the wrong decision, so Mr. Hazelton, you could go ahead and start the project at your own risk until that 30-day period is up.
Okay. Appreciate that.
You have
I
the
just like
variance.
to say thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Somebody want to make a motion that we close this hearing?
Make a motion that we close the hearing for, what is it, 13 Quaker Street.
Seconded, Alan French.
All those in favor?
Aye. Alan French.
Aye. Aye. Motion
Mike
carries.
Conley, aye.
Thank you and good night.
Okay, we'll open up the hearing for Cheryl Bousquet. Cheryl, do you want to give us a quick synopsis of
Yes, can you hear me?
what's going on here?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. I
Okay.
can.
Okay. Well, I met with you a couple of months ago, and we needed to have some drawings done. I sent those over to Laura. I think, Laura, you had a chance to distribute those, hopefully. So everybody has the site work that,
Yes, we all, I think we all have the plot plans, yes.
okay, so you can see the 8x12 addition that's attached to the existing garage. Actually, it's a barn, 3-story barn. That is, what initially we were calling it a lean-to, and then Sam Zaney came by and told us, that we needed to stop the work on it. We were looking at it like it was like a shed. We thought we only needed to be a certain amount of feet from the property line, and we had all the property lines verified, and they're marked on the drawings that you have. So the closest lot line is 6 feet 11 inches from where the addition and the overhang is in the far corner. That's the furthest from the street. And then there's a ramp there, but, you know, the ramp is, I'm not sure if that counts for anything, but the 8x12 addition is 6 feet, 11 inches furthest from the street, and then the other corner that's closest to the street is 8 feet, 8 inches. So the variance would be for the difference there, that we're looking for.
Do we have that in black and white, Cheryl, or the actual?
Well, I put it on, when I redid the application, and I don't think I did write all those details in because they were on the drawing.
Yeah, the variance
Jeff?
requests are on the drawing.
Actually, it is written in there. It's on
Yes.
page 3. It's on page 3. The variance which we are requesting is. to
Okay, yeah.
connect- Okay, you got that?
Yeah, yeah, they're all, that's right, that's why I couldn't remember. I have so much paperwork here. There's
Yeah.
the one there's one there's 18.1 foot, 9.9, 2.21.2. Okay. There's 4 variances. Right. Okay.
Are there any abutters on for this?
Well, I do
Hello?
have I received an email tonight. Again, this is a final, so I think I should read it. It's from the neighbor, Bonnie
Griskovitz.
Greskovich. Okay.
Yeah.
It's dated February 8th at 3:28 today. Okay.
Bonnie.
So
Is she on?
when everybody's
Yeah.
ready, I'll read it when it's a
Okay.
good time.
Jack, she's on. She can probably explain
Oh,
it.
she is on. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this appears to be an addition protruding into the setbacks. The setbacks that are supposed to be 25 feet. The barn is situated at only 15 feet, and this is protruding to within 9 feet of the property line. The structure is set into sonotubes and sticks up 5 feet in the air before the floor of this proposed addition shows up above grade, and it can be seen from my deck, all of the windows in my house, above my fence, above my landscaping, which I have indicated in the letter with pictures.
Bonnie, are you off, Bonnie, or what do you feel about this addition that's going on, Bonnie? Yes or no?
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we hear you now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's within 9 feet, or I just heard something even closer of the property line, and it's an addition to the barn, which already was only 15 feet from the property line. So it's coming closer into the setback. That's, to me, an intrusion and an encroachment.
Cheryl, do you know what the height, this is Tom, the chairman speaking. Do you know what the height of this structure is from the ground up? About 10 feet.
It's about 10 feet. Originally, we had looked at this like it was a shed. Originally, we were going to put a shed over there because we wanted storage for, like what's in the documents here, for the snow blowers and bicycles, so it's easy access for us to get those, you know, especially the snow blowers in the winter, so we don't have to access them from behind the barn or, you know, take up room in the garage where we can have our cars. So in order to put a shed, the convenience of those things, to put a shed would have been closer to the property line, to the fence. And so we were looking at the specs for the sheds. And so that's where we came up with, we thought that we were in good shape. You know, I forget what they were. Norm probably knows the numbers. Anyway, and I had said, well, let's just attach it to the barn. We had an ugly old storm window there. We used that as a doorway opening to get into this lean-to shed, which now we're calling an addition. But initially it started out to be, you know, that was the purpose of it. So, I mean, we could have put a shed on that side and gotten away with, you know, being okay with all the specs and everything. But and it would have actually probably been closer, but, you know, we would have kept it as, you know, in a decent area. But I mean, this just made it more convenient for us when we did this to be able to access through the, you know, the bottom floor of the barn to get into the, you know, the items that we need to get into for, you know, taking care of our property. So if it was a shed, it would have been okay. And, you know, I have pictures attached that you can see, that you can't see the property, Bonnie's property from the shed. I mean, it's basically going to be clapboarded. We have all the materials to finish it so that it's going to be, you know, sided and painted. It's going to blend right into the visual of what you see. It's a beige siding with a slant roof. And, you know, I realize, you know, that it's, I mean, I can't help that the property lines are the way they are. You know, my house is an old house and they, you know, the regulations were different, you know, whatever, but, you know, I could have put a shed there. And I guess, you know, maybe that's what we should have done, but we didn't because we were looking at it like that's what we were doing, except that we were trying to make it easier by, you know, accessing it through the lower level of the barn. So anyway, that's and that's why the height is the way. Yeah, so the floors match. That's right. Yep. So, you know, it's that's why it's that high.
So my question, this is Mike Conley. So my question is, you said, is the height of the structure 10 feet from the floor, or is it 10 feet from the ground?
Yep, and Sam Zaney, when Sam Zaney came to do told us, you know, we had to stop because we didn't have a permit, right? He came and he looked at everything, and Norm talked to him, and he said, it's fine. He said, it's just that you need to, you know, have the building inspector come over and look at it. And he said, if, you know, if it wasn't attached to the barn, he said, it wouldn't be an issue. He said, but unfortunately, that's what you did. So, you know, we needed to have the building inspector. And then, of course, he denied it and said we needed to get an appeal.
This is Tom, Chairman. What the ramp that goes up to this, how tall is that ramp at the highest point where it
The tallest ramp, the ramp
enters the actual
addition? Is it 5 feet?
Yeah, maybe 5 feet.
Yeah, because it's a
long ramp. You know, so I didn't have to be so steep.
Tom, this is Jack. You know, Cheryl, you could have put that shed 5 feet from the property line, and you have one beautiful piece of property that goes way out back there, and not add any effect on the neighbors.
Right.
And it sounds like the neighbor is not really happy with looking at that bubble every time she goes in her backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I went down there with a couple of other members and just to drive by it. And we do that often on sites that we're not sure of. And the comments were just shaking our heads because it sticks out so much on the side of the barn.
Right.
But if you would put it, and you could have put it any place out back there and 10 by 12, 5 feet from the property line and never had an issue.
Right, but you understand that the purpose of it was so that it was easy access
Yeah.
to the, you know, the driveway. Obviously, the main purpose of it is really for the snow blowers. And I mean, getting older to try to shovel down my walkway to the back to get to my snow blowers, to get to a shed. This was the whole purpose of it, really, Jack, is.
Oh, I understand that, but you've got a
No, I-
neighbor that's not happy with it, and that 25
And a
foot
three-story barn.
is critical. Yeah.
And the three-story
you know,
barn is, you know, the barn is, you know, way bigger and has been there a lot longer. And this is actually going to make it look nicer on that side because it takes care of 3 ugly storm windows and some crappy siding that was facing that side. And we have all brand new siding for that we've already purchased, including lattice work that's going to be done underneath. So it's really not going to, I mean, if anything, it's just going to blend.
But it sticks out like a sore thumb, Cheryl.
Mhm.
And it's, you know, and I think if it was on your other side of the house with your other neighbor doing that, you might be offended by it because and this is why Bonnie is, I can never pronounce her last name, and I'm Polish, son of a gun, and, you know, and why she's offended by it.
Mhm. So what
As
if
far as the
we
usability,
if we detach it,
it can't
and
come into
just-
play here, you know?
if we detached it and moved it over 2 feet, it would be okay there.
Pardon me?
Not really. No, she said if she detached it, it'd be okay there. Really, it
No.
would be only if it was on temporary, but the fact that you have cement poured in the ground, that makes it a permanent structure,
Yeah.
detached or unattached.
I thought
But
they,
also,
well, they told us that wasn't permanent, because we checked into that. And they told us, because those are sonotubes, it's not it's
But,
just
yeah, it is,
sitting,
it's permanent.
it's just sitting on the sonotube, so we could,
also, you can only have one auxiliary structure within the 25-foot setback, and the pool is also within the 25-foot setback. So they really can't have a shed on that side because they've already have another auxiliary structure in the setback.
Yeah.
And the
that's right.
barn is already 15 feet from the property line, so that's already within the setback as well.
yeah, but that's, we can't help that, Bonnie. That's,
Well, the pool is a temporary, it's a temporary structure, so.
right. I mean, that's,
wouldn't-
you know, I mean, I have an
That's
It's
18
not-
It's
I
an
understand, it's
1850
non-conforming. The building itself is a non-conforming structure, and expanding a non-conforming structure, that starts to adversely impact me with view. Expansion of the footprint of the barn further into the setback, that starts to protrude into the setback even further than the 15 feet that was possibly, you know, obviously grandfathered, but now it comes even closer. Everything just keeps coming closer to the setbacks, and you know, even I don't even know, you know, as far as the driveway expansion, you know, that whether that was supposed to occur, because that's also in the setback. So there's a lot going on along that entire property line, very close, with no, you know, I mean, I cleared the land as you requested, so now I have you know, all this view of all of this. And I've spent a lot of money in landscaping trying to build up a border, but, you know, it's going to take years to catch up with all that's been done. And, you know, I've spent a fair amount of money trying to create a border, a zone, a buffer, because, you know, it's all just open space.
If you look at the pictures in you know, in the documents, in the application, the second to last picture from the lean-to looking towards your house, you can't even see.
But it's
your
not
house.
from the lean-to looking at me, it's from me looking at you. That's the perspective that this is supposed to be looked at. Your view is pretty darn good, I think.
Well,
I mean, I sent those pictures. It should be in my email of all of the arborvitae and the greenery that you face. I face an entire wall of house, barn, and pool. And it just got closer.
Yeah, I talked to Bonnie a few months ago, and she says she doesn't understand why Cheryl put her pool there anyway 30 years ago. Why couldn't Cheryl put her pool?
Are there any other abutters, Tom? On?
I don't know.
Yeah, I talked to the other abutter.
What's that, Alan?
I talked to the other abutter that moved in my old house. And they just were concerned on where that was, and I explained to them where it was, so they really didn't have a problem.
My abutter next to me expressed dismay that this was, I will read you the text. That is terrible. They are on top of you. Are you going to talk about it at the meeting?
But your deck, Bonnie, is 150 feet from this side, from that side of my barn. So that's.
The setback is the setback. It's supposed to be 25 feet. It was grandfathered to 15. Now it's coming to 9. Was anything measured? Were any, you know, I know there wasn't even an application put in for it. I mean, it just was done.
Well, I explained why, because we thought it was considered a shed. When we looked at.
Sheds usually rest on the ground.
Right, it does.
This is in the air.
Who said you could build it, Cheryl, without a permit?
Nobody. We thought that it was, we were looking at the specs for a shed. So we thought that we were in line with everything.
Can you speak up a little bit, Cheryl?
Sorry.
Sorry, for some reason, I can't get my volume up on stereo.
Can you hear me okay now? Can you hear me all right now? Hello?
Hello?
Jack? Can you hear me all right?
No, it's Renchi.
Oh, okay.
Jack, can you hear her, Jack?
I can, I'm having, Cheryl, I even got some mics. I thought that would help me out to put on my ears, but I don't know. Don't seem to be working. I'm doing something wrong.
I get everything turned up as high
I got my volume up all the way on the.
Well, I'm sorry. Now I kind of missed the question, but I mean, you know, we didn't get a permit. We didn't think we needed a permit because we thought this was considered like a shed. It was just going to be, you know, I had said to Norm, I said, we could really use a shed to put this stuff in, so we're not hauling everything from out back. And then we decided to attach it to the barn. That was on me to do this. And we didn't get a permit for that reason because we didn't think we needed to. We didn't look at it like it was an addition. So, I mean, I wasn't trying to encroach on anybody's space. I didn't really think that anyone could see it because I can't see anything. When I walk on the other side road, I can't see it. And so, anyway, that's my story. You can see it now because maybe because of the winter, but in the tie, in the
6 months out of the
tieback,
year.
in the tieback, you know, looks like yuck. I mean, we were gonna be done the whole thing in like probably a week when Sam Zaney came, and you know, so it looks like junk out there now because it's not sided and it's not painted. I mean, I've done a lot of work to my house in the last 4 years with siding and you know, fixing up the inside. I've got permits for everything I've done here except for that. So I'm not trying to avoid doing the right thing. And you can look in all the documents that I've done the right thing, except for this. And it wasn't to, you know, do harm or, you know, make anybody's property of less value. If anything, what I've done to my property is, you know, increase the value. And I've talked to my other neighbors too, and I have no other neighbors that thinks that it looks, I mean, the guy on the other side of me, there's Mary,
He doesn't see it.
the, well, neither do the people next to you, that you mentioned. And also, I can't remember their names on the, in front there, but, you know.
Well, I have another neighbor that I had a meeting tonight, but mentioned that he thinks it sets a very bad precedent to allow this.
Yeah, right.
Any other comments from the board?
What about removing it and putting up a different piece of shed?
Excuse me?
Speak up, Alan.
I said, what about removing it and putting up another shed?
Well,
Yeah, you can't
That's-
do that because it's too yeah, you've got two
I
temporaries
mean,
within.
you know, you're talking about a big expense that we've already, you know, I mean, I don't want to throw money around, but I mean, it cost us quite a bit to put that up. It would cost us quite a bit to move it. And that is the location for what we purposed it for. So if it can't be there, it's pretty much useless to me.
I have one further question about existing usage. You know, there's a 3-story barn we're talking about, an addition to a 3-story barn. You know, what, I mean, I see 4 cars outside almost all the time, so the barn doesn't appear to be used as a garage. There seems to be a basement level underneath. There's the level that's even with the driveway. And no, I don't expect you to put a snowblower on the 2nd or the 3rd floor, but I mean, that's a lot of storage space. It just seems like
But
it's
that's how
a lot.
I mean, this is how we want
That's
to
not how
be.
the ordinances are written, though. It's not about me telling you what to do. It's about the ordinances. And the ordinances talk about expansion of a non-conforming structure.
But this is how we want to use the space, Bonnie. This is the purpose
I didn't
of,
write the ordinance. You know, you shouldn't be directing this at me.
I'm not.
This is how the zoning was written, not my right. I didn't write the law. I didn't write these.
I understand that, but you have to understand too that, you know, I'm going to be looking at retiring in a few years. So I'm not going to be in the kind of, I don't want to haul my stuff out back so I can clean my driveway. I want to be able to, you know, use the space the way it's gonna fit me and suit me as far as, you know, ease of use. And I understand that this, you know, I understand that we made a mistake in not getting a permit. And I can't do anything about that. That's why I'm here. And I just don't think that when this is completed, that it's going to be even a noticeable structure attached to an already large 3-story barn.
And already, yeah, and it like you said, already large 3-story barn, 15 feet from the property line. That I don't hold that against you. I like your barn, but the 15 feet when it's supposed to be 25 is already 10 feet inside of the setback. And then to bring it out even closer, it's a very, I mean, you haven't been there from my level, but that ramp sticks up above the rustic post and rail fence. The entire addition sticks up above the fence, above the arborvitaes that have planted. It looks like it's dangling in the air. It's I know from your driveway, it's cute. You know, I mean, I see why you did it from your angle, but this is not a nice view from all of my windows and all of my deck for, it's going to be 6 months of the year looking at this
But don't you think
thing in the air.
But don't you think once it's sided and it's the same
With
color
white
of the
lattice
barn-
showing through all of the greenery? No, I don't think so. It looks
well,
like a box.
You already have to look at a beige clapboard. So the beige
It's
clapboard is
a
going to
barn.
match. It's going to match the barn. So we will clapboard it all the same color down to the ground if you don't want to look at white lattice. I mean, you know, I've changed my lighting outside because it was bothering you. I've moved things from the
Well,
other side of the
spotlights aimed
barn.
at a house is not very.
Well, but I'm saying I've always tried to
Thank you for
accommodate.
moving.
I've always
Okay.
tried to accommodate, so I'm fine with that.
And likewise, I cleared that land at your request. Otherwise, I wouldn't have seen any of it.
Yeah, well, I offered to do that after 10 years of an ice storm of crap, but yeah. But you know what? Nobody needs to hear this, so let's just move on.
I have a question. On
Go ahead.
on the plan, the December 8th plan, there's a box on the right-hand side that says zoning relief. And it lists 4 potential variances. But really, my question is, 3 of them look like they probably, you're not looking for variances for them because those things were already grandfathered in. You know, the lot area, the amount of frontage on the street, and the distance, the setback of your house to the street. All of those things, I don't think are variances that you should be requesting from us today.
Okay. Not sure, I might have lost you on that. So from the frontage from the street,
Yeah, on the plan, you list 4 different variances that you're seeking. But I think 3 of them are just grandfathered in. Because
They wouldn't be grandfathered in. This is a new shed.
No, that's not the shed, it's the house.
No. Are you looking at the barn or are you looking at the house?
The house. The
The
house.
primary, this is Tom speaking. The primary variance to be looking for is the closest point to the lot line, which would be the 6 foot, 11
Yeah,
inches.
right, but I think that's the only variant that we should be looking at. The other 3, I don't think.
That's, they don't apply because they've already existed.
Right.
Those distances, yeah.
oh, you're right, yep.
And I,
If we, were-
you know, this
Go
could
ahead.
be added off the back of the
But
barn.
you guys are wrong on that. Take a look at the ramp as opposed to the building. It's 611, 88, 10A. There's three different ones right there. Taking a look at the property line.
I think the 10.
Yeah, but you want the closest one, right?
Isn't the 10-8 from the
Yeah.
barn corner to
Right.
the fence?
So 611.
The fence isn't the property line. The
Yeah,
fence
so
is
that's
1
an
foot in.
18
Well,
foot,
it's not.
1 inch
I'm
of
sorry.
variance.
It's not the property line. The plan I have in front of me goes to, I'm sorry, doesn't go to the fence. It goes to the property line. The fence would be another foot in. So this corner, 10.8, goes to the property line, not the fence.
Okay.
So you're looking, the variance here, that 611 is 18 feet, 1 inch variance request.
Correct.
You agree, everyone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, that's correct.
Wow.
Bonnie, this is Tom, the chairman. I have a question.
Yes.
What if the board required that they put up, let's say, a half a dozen or more 6-foot arborvitaes, pyramidal arborvitaes,
I
in
already
front of
have
this
6
entire
foot arborvitae.
project?
It goes up, it goes above the arborvitae. I mean, it starts at 5 feet up in the air.
The arborvitaes are, Bonnie, are not adjacent to that. They're more in front,
Yeah,
like going
that's
near
right.
they're near my grapevines. So,
Right.
so, you know, if I put a fence of arborvitaes along the border of the, which we were thinking of doing anyway, on the split rail.
It would
You know,
even be
I
closer
mean,
to
I'd
the
be
property
willing
line.
to do that versus, you know, tear the thing, you know, $3,000 worth of material down to put it at ground level and move it over. I mean, you know, it's gonna be over there.
It's very close. I just,
But if
Yeah,
it
I-
drops,
you know.
drops down, it's gonna be over there as a shed because I can put it over there as a shed and drop it.
Well, do we want to move on, guys? You know, it's a huge variance, 18 feet, 1 inch. It's probably one of the largest we've ever approved if we end up approving it. And we're listening to the abutter, which affects more than anything else. If you've driven by there, and I took 2 other members with me because we've often done that, like I said before, and it's to me it's ugly, and for the neighbor, and I think you have to understand the height of it looking back at her house over the Bonnie's, it sticks because of how the barn is and the structure to the side. There's a real drop off, and so it's up high in the air. And you know, I'm sorry that everybody didn't get a chance to take a look at it, but I did with a couple of other members.
No, I drove by. This is Mike. Can I apologize. The abutter's name, her name, she was speaking earlier. I just forgot it.
Bonnie.
Bonnie, I'm sorry, Bonnie. It was mentioned putting up some shrubbery, and I didn't get a final from you. Is that something that you'd be willing, or no? I just want to make sure I understood your point of view.
It's a permanent structure. I just go back to, we're talking 6 feet from the property line and advance from what should have been a 20, I mean, lot lines were drawn a long time ago. If they were drawn today, you'd have a 25-foot barrier. I know, you know, on the other side, you don't have anything close to you, nothing at all. There's a lot of space there, a lot of open space. It looks very nice. And I'm sure you get to enjoy that view.
No, I know.
Not what I get.
This is Mike. This is from the board. I just need to know from your point, that's something that sounds like, from your point of view, that's not something that would be good for you.
It's a structure. I mean, would I be allowed to put a 3-story barn 6 feet from the property line?
With a variance. Yeah, right. I guess that's what I'm getting.
Would anybody approve that?
Well, I mean, if there's two abutters, if you've got abutters, and you said to me, you know, as a board member, you said to me, look,
what's the point of
I'm
having
okay with
zoning ordinances? Why are they written in the first place?
Well, they're there for structure, but then there's non-conforming and there's other things that we have to deal with. But if you were to say to me as the abutter, hey, I'd be fine, because we deal with this all the time, especially with the large projects in town. People have to do certain things to make other abutters happy. Some of it's shrubbery, some of it's building berms, whatever. You know,
right, when you have
things.
200 feet versus 150 feet maybe, you know, of distance between people. We're talking bringing this up to 6 feet to the property line.
And
up in the air.
Yep,
I mean,
we've dealt with that. So
you have to understand that this thing is like from the ground, maybe 20 feet in the air. I can't measure it because, you know, I'm not over there, but it starts above the post and rail fence. I mean, start from the fence up.
That's fine. I'll take it that that's not going to be good for you. So I appreciate that. Thanks.
Do we want to go through the 5 criteria then?
Yep.
And also the expansion of non-conforming structure. Those criteria. No further adverse impact on the view of the abutter, expansion of the footprint of the structure goes no further into the setback. This protrudes 9 feet further into the setback, which was only 15 feet to begin with. It's encroachment. It's built on permanent foundation.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
you
not
know,
a
it's
permanent- it's
two
not-
different sections of this
Not
whole.
a permanent foundation. We've already made that clear. It is not a permanent foundation. That's why.
I think the board disagreed, though.
Well, we told them that it wasn't. We
There
had.
is cement in these sonotubes have cement.
Yeah, but it's not sitting, it's sitting on them. It's not. I mean, Zany came over and he looked at it because we walked through that with him when he came over and told us that we had to stop it. So, I mean, we talked through this with the building inspector and with Sam Zany. I'm just kind of sticking up for myself on that one.
Not before it was begun. Not before the work was begun. This is after the fact.
Right. It is a non-conforming lot, and you have to follow X1 of the zoning ordinances for the town, which I just discussed with the last applicant on 20 Wilders Grove.
Let's go through the 5 criteria so we
Okay.
can move on.
Yep.
Number 1, the variance is not contrary to the public interest, such that it would alter the essential character of the neighborhood or threaten the public health, safety, or welfare. Their answer to that is, as seen, this lean-to in no way affects or changes the character of our neighborhood. This structure is 150 foot from the center of the main road. Amesbury Road, and basically it is invisible from the public.
This is Jack Kozak. I disagree. There is public interest that would be affected and definitely would change the character of the neighborhood with that bump. And it will be, it says here it's invisible from the public. I totally disagree with that.
This is Tom. I also disagree.
Yeah, I, Alan French, disagree.
Roger Hamel, I disagree.
Mike Conley, I disagree.
Okay, number 2, the spirit of the ordinance is observed. The proposed use must not conflict with the explicit or implicit purpose of the ordinance and must not alter the essential character of the neighborhood, threaten public health, safety, or welfare, or otherwise injure public rights. The answer from Cheryl is again, this lean-to butts out from the original barn/garage. Lean-to will be utilized to store snow blower, lawn tractor, and garden tools. Lean-to is nowhere near the public, and again, is 150 foot from the center line of the road.
Jack Kozak, I disagree. I definitely think it changes the character of the neighborhood.
Tom, I disagree.
Yeah, and Alan French, I disagree.
Mike Conley, I disagree.
And Roger Hamel disagrees.
Number 3. A substantial justice is done. The benefit to the applicant should not be outweighed by the harm to the general public or other individuals. Cheryl's answer to this is there will be in no way harm to any of the public, considering this lean-to is connected to our original barn and is far from anyone/public.
I disagree. We have an abutter there that expressed her concern. I think we've even given her some alternate plans, and she made some good valid points. I think we owe it to the abutter to uphold the 25 foot. I disagree.
Tom, I disagree also.
Yeah, Alan French, disagree.
Mike Conley, disagree.
And Roger Hamel disagrees because I totally agree with Jack's comments.
Number 4, the values of surrounding properties are not diminished. Expert testimony on this question is not conclusive, but cannot be ignored. The board may also consider other evidence of the effect on property values, including personal knowledge of the members themselves. Cheryl's answer to that is, in my opinion, I believe this add-on to the barn actually makes the barn more appealing in appearance, not less.
Jack Kozak, I disagree. She's talking about the applicant is referring to her house, which she will not be able to see that bump out unless she goes to the side. But if you're looking at the neighbor's property, it would definitely have an effect. I think if she was selling her house and they walked out back and looked at the bump. So I disagree.
Tom, I also disagree.
Yeah, Alan French, disagree.
Mike Conley, on this one, I have to say I'm very neutral to that point. I can't say at this point whether it would increase or decrease either of those properties, so I'm going to abstain.
And this is Roger. I'm also going to abstain because, again, I don't have a feel for what it would do to property values.
Number 5, little enforcement of the ordinance will result in unnecessary hardship. Unnecessary hardship means the applicant must establish that the property is burdened by the zoning restriction in a manner that is distinct from other similarly situated property. Because of special conditions of the property that distinguish her from other properties in the area, there is no fair or substantial relationship between the general public purposes of the ordinance provision and the specific application to that provision to the property. The applicant must establish that because of conditions of the property, the restriction as applied to the property does not serve that purpose in a fair or substantial way. And B, the proposed use is a reasonable one. The applicant must establish that the special conditions of the property cause the proposed use to be reasonable. The use must not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. Alternatively, unnecessary hardship means that owing to special conditions of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area, the property cannot be reasonably used in strict performance with the ordinance. As an alternative to A and B above, the applicant can satisfy the unnecessary hardship requirement by establishing that because of the special conditions of the property, there is no reasonable use that can be made of the property that would be permitted under the ordinance. If there is a reasonable use, including an existing use, that is permitted under the ordinance, this alternative is not available. Cheryl's answer to this is, considering our home is on one side of the barn and our pool is close to the rear of the barn, the far side of the barn seemed to be the only logical place to add this butt out.
Jack Kozak, I disagree. There's no hardship in this case. If we look at the applicant's property and how
Tom, I
property
disagree.
goes down, she had more than enough room to any place in her property to put a shed 10 by 12 without interfering with the neighbors. So I wholeheartedly disagree.
Roger
Yeah,
Hamel,
Alan French, I disagree.
Roger Hamel, I disagree also.
Mike Conley, I disagree.
That being said, would somebody like to make a motion at this time?
Yeah. I'd like to make a motion that deny the variance request for 64 Amesbury Road, map 16, block 5, lot 19. And I'm trying to look for the information on this plot plan here so I can reference it. According to plot plan job number 20035 by Dennis Quatel, December 7th, 2020.
Yeah, I second the motion.
All those in favor of said motion signify by
Aye.
saying aye.
Aye, Jack Kozak.
Aye. Aye, Alan French.
Mike Conley, aye.
Roger Hamel, aye.
That being said, somebody want to make a motion that we close this hearing?
Make a motion that we close the hearing for 64 Amesbury Road.
Seconded, Alan French.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alan
Mike
French.
Conley, aye.
Tom, aye.
Roger Hamel, aye.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn this meeting so that we can come up with a non-public meeting for just a quick
Make a motion that we adjourn.
question that we have to answer.
Seconded, Alan French.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, Alan French.
So,
Aye.
Mike Conley, aye.
so Tom, are you now going to have a vote to go into non-public?
Yeah, we can do that. All
Yeah.
those in favor? Okay, we've
Yeah,
actually,
I make a motion that we go into non-public session.
And because I believe I know the
RSA.
subject of the discussion, I'm going to recuse myself from the non-public session.
Okay.
And maybe Trish can join you.
Trish, you still there?
I am.
Okay.
somebody want to second that motion then that we go into non-public meeting?
Seconded, Alan French.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, Alan
Conley,
French.
aye.
So we have no residents on anymore, I hope.
I believe, I have one question about removal of what will happen next with the property next door. This is Bonnie.
It would have to go to the building inspector, who's also the code enforcement officer. We don't have
Okay.
any enforcing, and we have nothing, no way to enforce any of the
You
ordinance.
can
Okay.
follow up with the building inspector, Bonnie. He'll get a notice in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, so wait till I get the notice.
Well, I don't, you won't get a notice, he will.
Yeah, you don't have to wait.
I guess I'm up in the air as to what is my next step, or what the next step is as far as doing anything about what's been built.
You advise the building inspector and he has to go out and look at it.
I advise him.
No. Alan, let me talk just 1 second. He'll get a notification because this has happened in the past. And what he probably will do is going to have him tear it down. If he doesn't, I don't know why he wouldn't, because there's no building permit or anything. But like I said, Bonnie, I'd give him a call, leave him a message, and ask him what he's going to do as soon as he gets the notification.
Okay, so
Call
I'll
him up,
wait for him
leave
to
a
get the
message in
notice.
Town Hall.
Okay, all right, I appreciate that. Thank you, I'll hang up now.
Yeah, so Laura, if they're gonna go into non-public, then you have to eliminate all of the people who are not members of the board.
Yep, that's what's happening right now.
Help, help.
Just give me a second, guys. I'm almost.
That's fine.
I got to put my dog downstairs.
So just want
Yeah,
to double check. The 4660, is that you, Alan?
Yes, it is.
Okay, the 7001. Who is that?
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
Coleman McDonough.
Okay.
All right.
Coleman McDonough.
Okay, I have two Colemans here. Okay, perfect.
Who's the other Coleman then?
The other one says Coleman on there, so I'm guessing maybe it's Tom, unless, yeah.
Is it just us now?
No,
No.
not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. So 7001 is Coleman, and then I have another box that says Coleman on it.
Right. You need to
So,
delete both of them.
Did you join on a computer and on the phone?
No.
Oh,
So whoever says Coleman should turn on the video so that way we can see who it is.
Well,
Yeah.
he should just be, if he doesn't disconnect, Laura, you need to disconnect him.
yep, that's what I'm doing.
Did
Okay.
you say?
Coleman, you still on here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
good.
so
Okay,
you're
so
gonna
it's
disconnect
just
me?
us. No, no,
Yes,
no, no.
you're
I
gonna
disconnected the other box. You're all
Oh, yeah,
set.
but you need
This
to
is-
disconnect that one also.
Oh, okay.
Before you disconnect me, is there
Coleman,
anything?
this is Jack Kozak. I don't think it's appropriate for you to say anything. Please get off. We're going into behind closed doors, basically.
I
We don't
removed
need
him.
you to make any comment.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, now that everybody else is gone, I will leave and either Jack or Tom, can you call me after to let me know what happened?
Yep.
But I will leave now.
Hey, Roger?
Whoop,
Should Amy
Roger,
Collier be on here?
I'm still here.
Yeah, Roger, this is Tom.
Okay.
On this non-public session that we're having, we do have to do minutes on it, right? As a separate meeting?
As a
And have to
separate
be-
meeting
is-
that have to get sealed. Basically, what you
Right,
need to do
But it has,
is when you finish your discussion, you vote to come out of non-public. Then in public session, but there won't be anybody there, someone makes a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session.
okay, thank you.
And then you can adjourn the meeting.
Fine.
Any other questions for me before I go?
No, I think we're good.
Okay,
Yeah, Roger, I have one question for you, Roger. You know,
okay.
I see that at the selectmen's meeting all the time. They have a meeting the next month. They say, well, listen, something, they sealed it. Can they take it out of sealment? Is that what happens, or they just keep
They
it sealed
can.
forever?
They can, yeah.
Actually, what you're supposed to do is periodically decide any minutes that you have sealed, whether it's in the interest of the public to make them the public, and
Okay.
then you can vote to make them public at some later date.
Okay, but there's no timetable on it or anything?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Trish, you're pretty familiar with all of the
Yep, I am,
mechanics of
honey.
this.
Thank you.
Okay.
Quick question, should Annie Collier be on here because she was removed and now she's coming back?
No,
No.
no, she can't
No,
come
she
back.
shouldn't.
Okay, just making sure.
So, okay, any other questions for me before I leave?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, Roger.
Okay, goodbye, Roger. Have a good night.
Good night, Roger.
So it's just Tom, myself, Jack, Trisha, and Mike Connolly.
Alan, are you still there,
What
Alan?
happened to Alan?
I'm not sure what happened to him.
What happened to Alan?
Uh-oh. We gotta
That
get
was
him back.
that the other number, right?
Alan, you
Yes.
still there? Alan?
He's not on here.
No, he got deleted. We gotta get him back.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can't get him back.
Okay.
He probably got off before Tom talked. I didn't hear him. Alan,
So it's just us on the line now, right?
Yes. Yes, correct.
Okay. What's the subject matter of this? Can I ask, or do I have to wait?
I think Jack's trying to get
Subject
Alan.
matter is dealing with Route 125 development.
Okay,
yeah,
that's what I thought.
you dropped
Okay,
out. Get back on, Alan.
thank you, Tom.
But,
Yep.
hey, Laura, did you knock Alan off?
I don't think I did. Can he call back?
Yeah, call back, Alan.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. He's off. He's gonna try to get back in. I just love this Zoom. So Tricia, who's running for selectman?
So Lisa, Matt, a guy named Bill Clark, I think he lives on Crane Crossing, and Edvin the firefighter.
Okay.
And a lot of new people for planning board.
Really?
Yeah, all new people. I was
Evan?
surprised.
Evan's a
sorry?
firefighter, but he's with Massport as well, but he's
Yeah.
police?
Yes. Yes. Yep.
Interesting.
Come on, Alan.
Well,
That's what
let
you have
Alan
to
know I
do,
got a
Laura,
third
is
job
there?
to go to.
Yeah. God, what's he doing?
We can start and
Yeah.
rebrief him when he comes on.
Yeah,
It's not a major deal. There has been a summons for those of you, probably most of you, I'm sure you're aware, there was a summons issued to me as chairman of the Board of Appeals as in the form of a lawsuit about based on the decisions that we made on 27-3 and 27-7. And it's been forwarded to the Superior Court, and there's supposed to be, somebody is supposed to read it on the 10th of March, I believe it is. In the meantime, our new attorney, Diane, I have her last name here somewhere. Diane, I've been in contact with her several times in the last week. And she seems pretty sharp, and she's been conversing with the attorney representing Route 125 development. And the attorney representing Coleman wants to, like to get what they call a stay order, meaning that they would kind of set aside the summons temporarily, which would allow Coleman to come before us and apply for some individual variances on 27-3. And it's up to the board to vote one way or the other, whether we want to issue the stay order or just let things go as they are and let the hearing take place on the 10th of March.
Yeah, I think it's a bad idea. We'd be cowed down into Coleman. In fact, I'm ready to make a motion to deny it if it goes to that point. If he wants to do something on any one of those lots, 27-3 or 27-7, drop the lawsuits now and in the future, and he can come in and talk to us. The rumor that I've heard is he's got a couple of lots that somebody wants to build on them. How can we possibly, now that we're under a lawsuit, do anything with those properties? You know, my personal feeling is I don't want to discuss it with him, and if he wants to drop the lawsuit, we'll go forward and have meetings and start all over again. I mean, he's trying right now, I guess, in front of the planning board to actually break it down and have a plot plan or whatever you call it that goes to the planning board, and that's still in the delay step. They keep on extending and extending and extending it, but that's my feeling.
Well, Coleman Coleman's come to see me at least twice in the last week. He was here today with a proposed plan for phase 2 and phase 3 dealing with 27-3. And these lots that he'd like to get some movement on are not in any way affected. They don't involve the buffer. They need a road is what they really need to establish these lots in order to build on them. And that's just, he treats me like I'm his best friend, but that's not the way it is, but.
Yeah.
Anyway.
My thing is, if he's now willing to take a few lots and talk about them, then he should have taken our advice at the very beginning and brought each one of those lots in front of us.
Right,
Yes,
you did
Mike.
say that,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
I think now's, at the last ditch to try to make some money and offset and make his own way, then fine, cancel the lawsuit, bring each lot in front of us and we'll decide individually. And I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Tom said he agreed to do that.
Which Tom?
The Tom that always was
me?
there with him in the meetings before.
No, Alan, excuse me, Alan, you misunderstood him, Alan. I asked him the question. Let's go back, Alan. You misunderstood it all. I asked Tom what his opinion was, and I said, do you think if Coleman would have approached this differently by going through lot by lot? He said yes. He didn't say he should come back. That was his opinion, that Coleman made a mistake. You misread it. I'm not sure where you were in the room that night. But, Tom never said that he would prefer to have a hearing on it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if he came back and on lot by lot, we were all set with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's what we're talking about here. If you want to go lot by lot, drop the lawsuit and come back and we'll deal one lot at a time. That's what I think is the best idea.
My battery is running low, so I guess we better make
Okay.
a motion to make a decision. And I will, when we make a decision one way or the other, I will contact the attorney tomorrow morning.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to deny any application received from 125 New Hampshire Development Corp., Puzzle Lane, Newton, New Hampshire, if the applicant involves the following properties that are under litigation. And correct, you guys can change this any way you want. I'm no lawyer, whatever. Tax map 14,
Well,
block
we
1, lot 27-3, and tax map block 1, 27-7, unless the lawsuit is dropped against the Newton, New Hampshire Board of Appeals on the mentioned properties. Date of complaint filed November 24, 2020, Rockingham Superior Court. Further to deny any discussion on above mentioned parcels.
Somewhere in there,
Lawsuit is dropped.
we don't want to issue
I'm
a
sorry,
stay.
what, Tom?
Right. We want to introduce the word stay. We don't want any kind of a stay on the process of the lawsuit. We want it to go forward as is,
Yes.
so we need to somehow,
You mean put it into the motion, Tom, or?
yes,
Okay,
yes, we should put it into the motion, yes.
okay.
They want us to issue they're interested in issuing a stay order, and we're not really, as a board, I assume we're,
How would we word
deny
that and further to deny the stay of the
deny the stay of the
stay of the court case
current
or the?
lawsuit.
Well,
Yes,
if
that's
it's
good.
if it's an offering to us, right? Then it should be we're denying the stay, right? If they're offering that to us, then yeah, it's got to be a denial of that.
Yeah, but who's requesting this?
Sounds like Coleman's lawyer.
Tom,
Who's
is it that
requesting this
woman
stay?
lawyer
The
we
attorney-
have now, or is it Coleman?
No, it's Coleman's lawyer, John Kusinovich, whatever his name is. He's been in conversation with our lawyer, Diane,
Diane Goro.
and she said from Coleman's point of view, this would be to his advantage to do this, but it's up to us as a board to vote one way or the other. So we need to vote to the effect that we vote against any type of stay at this point. Something to that.
So I'm going to add it to the end, further to deny the stay of litigation. Is that enough to cover it, guys?
It sounds good to me, yes.
Yeah.
You have that, Laura?
Seconded, Alan French.
I have it all typed up. Laura, what I'll do tomorrow is I'll add these other couple of lines. If it's approved, it makes any changes, and I'll get you a copy of this tomorrow.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Would anybody like me to read this thing over again?
Sure, go ahead.
Sure.
Okay. I make a motion, and I'll try to speak up. I'm not sure if you guys, can't really hear you guys well, but I hope you can hear me. I make a motion to deny any application received from 125 New Hampshire Development Corp., Puzzle Lane, Newton, New Hampshire. If the application involves the following properties that are under litigation: tax map 14, block 1, lot 27-3, and tax map block 1, 27-7, unless a lawsuit is dropped against the Newton, New Hampshire Board of Appeals on the mentioned properties. And then I just put date of complaint filed November 24, 2020, Rockingham Superior Court. Further, to deny any discussion on above-mentioned parcels unless lawsuit is dropped. Further, to deny the stay of litigation. Please feel
So
free to
I
add or
have-
change anything. Yes, Mike?
I'm not a lawyer, so I'm going to throw this out to the group. But you put what's the word? You collared this. You said unless you said unless something is dropped. Are we looking to barter this? And how does that look at in court? I think we just deny it. We deny the request, or we reject Coleman's request without any other conditions attached to it. Because otherwise, if not, we're shaping something, and we have to be neutral.
Okay, so make a motion to deny any application received from 125 Development from both. If the applicant follows the following properties, and that's it. Don't mention a lawsuit.
Yeah, we just reject the request to what's the request for? First, we as a board are rejecting the request for a stay at this point in time. Period. Don't have to give them any ammunition.
Yes.
No, nothing.
Okay, but if he keeps on coming to Tom and talking,
simple.
I think we got to eliminate that.
If he keeps coming to Tom, Tom's got to say, talk to my lawyer.
Yeah.
Talk to our lawyer.
Right.
And Tom's, and
Oh,
you
I
got to
told him,
say, you've been gagged to say, look, I've been told not to talk.
I told him today that due to the litigation, we cannot put you on our agenda. I did tell him that today, and yet he still came on.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm not shocked. That's called narcissism.
So you think it's wrong, Mike, to put in there that, letting him know that we sit down and negotiate if he dropped litigation?
No, you put
Yeah, I
nothing
think
up
we should
front.
drop it.
You drop
Right.
it.
Okay, so
Right.
what
You
should
can
we
be,
do?
your
Just say,
doors can be,
just
your doors
deny
can be
the
wide
stay of
open.
litigation? And
Yep.
forget about
Your doors
everything
can
else?
be wide
Yep,
open later
yep,
on. Lawyers can talk. We can be wide open later, but right now, stick only to the point. We are rejecting his offer for the stay.
Okay. So that's pretty simple. So just to make a
Yep.
motion to deny the stay of litigation, period.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Laura, that's pretty easy, right?
Yes.
Okay, what did Roger say? We have to just
Well, we got to make a
make a
motion
motion
first,
to
right?
adjourn then.
Yep,
Yep. So
yep.
we
gotta vote
make a
on it.
motion to seal these minutes, but if we are going to share this with an attorney, then we have to put that into the minutes. So we're going to seal these minutes from the public. However, Laura is going to communicate this with our attorney. And minutes will remain sealed until the board feels it's prudent to then make public.
Okay.
I second
Yeah,
that
this is
motion.
Tom. I will call. Okay,
Okay.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Tom.
Aye.
Hi, Alan French.
Mike Conley,
I
aye.
will call the attorney tomorrow. I'll call the attorney tomorrow and let her know.
Okay.
Oh,
The other
the
thing
decision.
is, and now I'm thinking,
Oh.
we have to think of 91A and the right to know. We're gonna call Roger to tell him, so probably in the motion, because he's an alternate, does that mean we tell Frank too? And if so, we've got to put that in the motion. Otherwise, we're violating the 91A by telling Roger what we just did in a non-public.
So how would you word that in the, should we make another motion to do this?
Yeah, I mean, and do we exclude Frank?
No, I think we should include him also, right? Yeah.
I mean, technically they're members. I mean, we're all
Right.
members, but some
Right.
of us are alternates.
Right,
So we would have to remind them that it has to stay non-public.
right,
Roger
Yep.
knows that. We'll have to remind Frank.
yeah.
So I make a motion that we seal these minutes with the exception of all the board members, the zoning board members, including alternates, and including allowing the attorney our attorney to be notified. These minutes will remain sealed until the board deems it allowable to make public.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Hi, Alan
Aye.
French.
Tom,
Mike Conley, aye.
Tricia, aye.
Yeah, we haven't, this is the first time we've ever done this before, at least since I've been on the board. So I'm glad, Tricia, you're there because you and Roger both know more about that than we do.
right.
Yeah,
But
I'm
that's
sure.
interesting about the board members letting, to let them know. Otherwise, we couldn't.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
And the other good thing is that alternates are still sworn in, so they
Right.
have to keep that private. So we're all protected under that.
how do we contact them and let them know that it's a sealed motion?
We shouldn't do anything in writing. We should
Okay.
call them. One of,
Alright.
whether it's Tom or
Whoops.
It should be Tom, right? Because he's
Yeah.
the chairman.
it really
Yeah.
should be, yes.
Yeah.
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 And just remind them that it has to remain, confidential.
Sealed, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's sealed.
Okay. So I have to tell all of you, I know we're in non-public. I have been teaching nights, Monday, Wednesday nights for about the last 4 months. I changed my schedule tonight so I could be on this. So just so that you know, I've been missing in action. If you want to boot me out, I get it. I'll do my best not to teach on Monday nights.
Well, thank you, Trish.
All right.
No, you were positive already.
Okay.
So Tom's tablet just died, so either
Okay.
French could close the meeting or somebody else.
Alan, you want to, I'll make a motion that we adjourn?
Oh, did we lose Alan too?
Alan's gone too.
Yeah, Alan's gone.
He has the worst time with his phone.
So before we adjourn then, Jack, are you going to call Tom and tell him what we ended with about notifying?
Yes, I will
Frank?
call him as soon as we get off the phone here. Yep.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Okay. So did you make the motion, Jack?
I made a motion. We need a second.
Mike Conley, I will make the second to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Laura, honey.
No
Bye.
problem. Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Mike.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.